Hi, everyone, and welcome to my I Love Learning podcast today. We are back from being gone. We were gone last week, but oh my goodness, today you are going to be so delighted with our guest, Richard Walker. I just spent the last 10 minutes talking to him, and I feel so inspired today. If you're having a bad day, you have come to the right place because Richard Walker is an incredible person. You see his passion. If you're not following him on LinkedIn, you should. He's a senior transportation manager, and I'm going to let him introduce himself to us. I wish I would have recorded the past 10 minutes because he's an incredible person, and I'm so looking forward to him sharing his passion with us today. Richard, thank you for being here. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're passionate about?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Gina. I've been missing talking to you every time we set something up, so this is awesome. I'm glad we finally got a time to do this. But like you said, I'm a senior transportation manager for a large global company, oversee all the freight coming in and out of the U.S. and Canada. Um, Passion, oh, like by day, that's my Clark Kent. So I'm passionate about all aspects of that. It's my niche. I love it. But by night, my biggest passion is helping people. I'm
Mm.
so driven to be a servant leader in every aspect of my life, and from being an exercise coach to being a life coach to being an influencer to just spreading joy and positivity. That's my life's passion, my life's goal.
That's incredible. The thing is, like, you attracted me through your posts and all your goodness. And I'm like, I have to meet this person because to me, my podcast is all about having a mind of a champion. And, the thing is, like, you don't come to the forefront having a mind of a champion. You have to go through hard times and hard things to be able to develop this mindset. And so, for you, I mean, has there been a time or did you face hurdles or how did you come to this sense of having this mind of a champion? Because Richard, you are a champion and I'm so glad to be connected to you. Why don't you share that with us?
Sure. So for me, I have a very odd history with my employment. I worked fresh out of college at a maximum security prison for 10 years, and it really shaped and defined me in a way I didn't enjoy it. I was
Mm.
very abrupt, very negative, very demanding, and I've talked about this before on LinkedIn. I have a congenital heart issue that really reared its
Mm.
ugly head in 2012. I suffered sudden cardiac death in 2012 and 2014.
Wow.
And from about 2012 to about 2018, I went through a massive bout of depression,
Mm.
suicidal thoughts, medications, and that kind of drove me to realize that my family's counting on me. I need to be
Mm.
a better man. I need to be joyous. I need to show my kids that life is going to come at you, but how you respond to that is going to make you. So
Mm.
that's really the catalyst that was I like I said to you earlier, I woke up one day and was like, I have to make a change. My family
Yeah.
deserves the best of me, and my
Mm.
children, three boys and a girl, deserve to understand that no matter how tough it gets, you can fight your way out, you can keep your head up, and things are going to get better for you. And that was really it. Like coming out of that, and in 2018, I decided to go off all medications. Had some
Mm.
had some great therapy that I did, and just kind of started to turn the corner. That you know what, I'm going to get up every day and chase joy. And as soon as I
Oh.
started doing that, the minute I started
Mm.
doing that, the world opened up like a flower. Like it completely flipped my universe on its end. And my kids and my wife forever grateful for that moment. So
Wow. That's so impactful. I mean, you hear these times when people, like you said, are are having suicidal thoughts or they're deeply depressed and something happens. What I mean, you mentioned your children. Was there a specific moment or a specific thought or what was it that made that switch? Or was it like you said, like you went through a lot of therapy and a lot of discussion and Was it a single moment, or was it a series of things that made you kind of chase joy in your life? I love
You
that.
know, it was a series of things, but I think something that opened
Hmm.
me up is having twin sons that were still very young in 2018 and still technically very young now. To see them approach a problem and get angry and be negative,
Mm.
sitting there one day and witnessing that and being like, "Oh, that's learned behavior." Like the
Mm.
what they've seen dad react to is why
Mm.
they are now acting that way. And I'll be the first to say, I mean, actually my daughter wants to be a psychiatrist because she's like, "I
Wow.
want to help people." And I'll be the first to say, like, if you need help, you need help. If you need to talk to people, you need to
Mm.
talk to people. Don't be too proud, because I truly think that combined with recognizing the damage I was causing in my own children's behaviors and how they approach things was really like the catalyst to be like, okay, I can go to my therapist, I can tell her, hey, this is what I'm experiencing, this is what I'm seeing out of my family. And she gave me ways to cope, outside
Mm.
of, a lot of times they'll say, here, just take these pills, you'll be fine. I wasn't happy with that. Medication was numbing me. I couldn't feel, I didn't have a response to things. I didn't have a scare response. I felt like I was inside of somebody looking out. and
Wow.
and I think that by recognizing that, to talking to somebody who was a great therapist, it kind of got that out of me and shook me to where I'm like, I don't want my any of my children to be that way. I want them to see problems and be like, nope, this is no issue. So it was a do or die thing. Like I had to do it, for their sake. But as I'm still going through this process, it's a lifelong process. It'll always be
Mhm.
this way,
Right.
for my own
Mhm.
sake too. For where I'm at now and the person I am today, I never could have imagined back then. So it's
Wow.
been a win-win.
Yeah, I love it. Win-win. I mean, the thing is, like, you changed your life. There's so many times that people think that because of who you are, the position you're in, you're kind of stuck, and or you got to where you are and they don't realize what you've gone through and the journey you've been through and the self-help that you've been through to get there. What keeps you going every day or keeps you happy to move towards this progress or continued growth?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it goes back to what I said at the beginning, my passion for helping people.
Mm.
I think, as you've said, there's kind of this stigmata that, oh, you're successful, you're at a high level in your work, or you own your own company, so you can be that way. You can chase joy and live joyously
Mm.
because you're in a position where you're not worried about things, which
Mhm.
we both know is not true. Like, there's things that worry you every day, and
Mhm.
it's not. All of us started somewhere. All of us started from the bottom. No matter what situation you were born into, what family you grew up with, what neighborhood you lived in, we all had those struggles. And for me
Mm.
now, it's trying to reach people every day,
Mm.
talk to people and say, hey, I, I'm here, let's talk, let's get you on a path. Because like I said,
Mm.
once you take that step, and again, it may be turning around and stepping the other way, but once you take that one step, it's going to snowball and it's going to open up to you. And so many people don't realize it's all up here. It's all up here.
Mm.
Stop thinking, stop living thoughtfully, start being in the
Mm.
moment. If you ever notice, when you're in the zone, Gina, you don't think. Like,
Mm.
when you're doing something that you love and you're in it, you can say, what was I doing 30 minutes ago? I don't even know, because
Mm.
you weren't thinking. But when you get that thought in your head of worry, or I can't do this, I'm never going to make it, you think about it and you think about it, and it stacks and it stacks and it stacks in you.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm of firm belief that worry and stress, it kills you. It kills you from the
Mm.
inside.
Mm.
You can get past that and say, yeah, my situation's bad, but here's the good stuff, and here's what I'm going to build on. You are going to open doors, and you are going to make a difference overnight.
Oh, you just gave me goosebumps. It's incredible. I love that you chase joy. And I think it's even more powerful that you point out that you weren't always in that position. You struggled,
Yep.
you overcome, and you continue to overcome, and you continue to fight for it because it's not like you're walking around every day smiling and feeling that joy inside. You have to manifest that to feel good. And was it something, Richard? Is this something you read, or was it something that somebody taught you? How did you know that you were craving joy? Like,
Yeah.
was it
I,
some? Yeah.
I think a defining moment for me that I can think about was when I was a younger man in my 20s. My family and I were at a restaurant. We came out and there was a homeless gentleman on the corner with a sign, and had a had two kids at the time, so it was my wife and two kids. Had a decent amount of leftovers. I was like, I'm gonna go take this guy this food. Like, it's cold out. I know his sign says he needs money. I'm gonna take him this food, and I ended up talking to that gentleman for probably 20, 25 minutes,
Wow.
and it made me feel things I've
Mm.
never felt before. Like, I got back in the car and I was just like, that was like a religious experience. Like, I have no idea what
Mm.
just happened to me. And that's when I
Mm.
realized, even that long ago, unfortunately, I was stuck in my own thoughts then, my own thinking then. But even back then, that was the catalyst of, I like to help people. I enjoy bringing joy to people. Like, this guy's
Mm.
probably been wanting to talk to somebody for days, weeks, months, who knows. He got a
Mhm.
hot meal and he had a chance to tell his story and talk to me, and that was kind of the catalyst. And then, you read a lot about that, like, if you buy the person behind you coffee, how it makes you
Mhm.
feel. And then you do it and you're
Mhm.
like that, and it makes you feel amazing. So, that was really the catalyst to, like, I want to live a life where
Mm.
people can understand that joy, no matter what situation you're in, is better than the alternative, right?
Absolutely. You just like touched on something that is so important in kindness. And kindness, like people think, well, you're a guy. Like, I mean, that seems strange. But the reality is, from a science perspective, when you give and you experience that and the chemicals it releases inside is
Mhm.
goodness. It does make you feel good. My mom passed away a couple months ago, and the day that she died, I had something similar. I did, Richard. She had all this food from Nutrisystem. She ate it for 12 years. I had just gotten delivered a box of her food like 3 days before she passed away. And the day she died, I took it down to the shelter where you can give away food.
Mhm.
And, I was experiencing grief, just losing my mom. And I walked in there, and there was a family, a man and his son standing there, and they were like, thank you so much for bringing food. And you would
Yep.
think, like, where I live in Charleston, South Carolina, Mount Pleasant. I mean, people are struggling everywhere, and it just takes, and in that moment of grief, you can have such joy. And
Yes.
people don't realize that because of the warmth and the chemicals, the dopamine, everything that happens inside of you in that moment can release a spark to have you want to have that joy. And so I think that's important for people to remember. And I love that you had that experience as
Yep.
well. And I
Yeah,
mean,
and I
that's
think
incredible.
it's and when for the people that you're helping also, you get to see real pure joy. It's not manifested.
Mhm.
They're not making it up. They're not their response to help is like pure love and pure joy.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I think about people that have the job they always wanted, and they have the income they always wanted, and they have the beautiful family, and those people are still kind of miserable. And then you have people
Mhm.
that have nothing, that have found how to live this way and how to be joyous, and those people are living a 100 times better life. And I think that's something huge you have to remember. People will reach out to me and say, oh, I'm struggling because of this, and I always try to say, put that into perspective. Like,
Right.
we're lucky that this is our problem. I'm lucky that my sons have a wrestling meet tonight, so I'm going to be on the road. Like, it's not a problem. It's not a reason to be stressed out. Like,
Mhm.
it's a good thing. There's people out there that are homeless in this cold. There's people out there that aren't eating. And you have to put it into perspective. If
Yeah,
you can reach
absolutely.
those people, you see it. It brings you joy, it brings them joy,
Mhm.
and it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think people say, "Well, you can give because you have the means to give." And it's like, you don't have to give an object. You can give love, you can
Yep.
give time, you can give attention. You
Yep.
can just be present, and that's giving it to someone that needs it.
Absolutely.
I think it's really important. My theme this season, I really wanted to focus on winning. And really, I enjoy your post about wrestling and in your sons. Though I was a college athlete, so I get inspired by that. But let me ask you. Oh, look, let's see. We have John saying kindness matters. Sometimes it's just a smile. Absolutely, John. Thanks for joining us. Absolutely, it is the simple things. But my season this year is on winning. And I think about that, like, what is winning? Like, really, what is winning? And if you say that like 5 times to yourself and you deeply think about that, what does that mean? And so I ask every guest this season, what does winning mean to them? So what would you say if I asked you, what does winning mean?
Yeah, I think if you asked me that years ago, it'd be much different, right? It would be
Mm,
winning is winning, like coming in first place, being the best. Now, uh, where I am in my life and where I'm still trying to get to, winning to me is just attached totally to joy. So when
mm,
I get up in the morning and my feet hit the floor, being mindful, focusing on what's important to me, focusing on bringing joy into my life, to my family's life, and to people around me. When I go to bed at night, when I'm done reading and I close the book, like I run through my head, like, did I win today? Who did I help? Did I make a difference? Did I get any PMs from anybody saying, "Hey, that made a difference"? Like, you, because of
mm,
you, I'm getting up earlier, I'm exercising, I'm building a gym, whatever happens to be. That to me is absolutely a win.
mm.
Absolutely. So that to me is winning. Did I accomplish my job for the day, which is to help? Did I help people?
Aw, that's incredible. I'm so glad I know you. I mean, honestly, and I know that, there's people out there today that are struggling. After this presentation, I'm gonna present to a group and ask them how many feel like fours and fives, and I'm interested to hear what they say. If someone messaged you, Richard, and they said, I've lost my passion. I don't know how I'm gonna get up tomorrow. I'm really struggling, with my spouse, and things aren't looking up for us. What would you recommend? You've been there. I mean, you've
Yeah,
been in that spot. So what would you tell them? What kind of message would you have for them to help them move forward just another day?
yeah. I mean, the first thing I would say to somebody is, no matter what situation you're in, move your body. You need to move your body. You cannot remain stuck in one spot. You cannot remain on your couch thinking, woe is me. You cannot, no matter what your situation is, if it's a walk, if it's a stretch, if it's a hopping on the internet and finding some body weight exercises, whatever it is, the first thing I want you to do is move your body through space, because there has been studies that have shown that it far outweighs anything medicine can do for you when it comes to depression. They give people sugar pills, placebo, and it does the same as the medicine, but exercise is way up here. So just elevating your heart rate, making your muscles work a little bit, something like that. And then we're going to start building on that. Like, what do you like to
Mhm.
do? Find what's fun. Let's start working that into your routine. Outside of that, every morning when you wake up, before you do anything else, I want you to pick up the phone. I want you to call me. I want you to tell me, what are you grateful for? Why did you wake up today? What was the reason that
Mhm.
you made it one more day? I don't care if it's your goldfish. What do you have to have a reason, right? There has to be a reason.
Yeah.
So once you have that
Mhm.
reason, we're going to latch onto that. Like, okay, what I like to tell people is the old you doesn't need you anymore, but the future you does. So
Mm.
that was yesterday. It's a new day. You woke up. There's a reason you woke up. There's a reason you're here again. What is it? And we build on that from there. I
Mm.
think when you put those two things together, people start moving forward. And then once it becomes like, I need to exercise, then you've got them hook, line, and sinker. Then you're like, now we're cooking with grease. Now we're moving, and that's when you can start making real progress.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I don't know if you were part of the Project 61 walking this past, it was like December to January, but Jeremy Reimer had, this opportunity to have a bunch of people in transportation just start walking together. I love that because so
Yeah,
many people just aren't, especially in transportation, people are in the vehicles or they're not moving. They're in the office like us working all day at a desk. So it's
yep.
important to remember that. It
Think
makes you
about,
feel
yeah,
good.
it's I have a book on my bookshelf. It's called Stronger Minds, Stronger Bodies. And people don't put the
Mm.
two together, but think about it with your own experience, Gina. Do you know anybody who is into fitness and exercise that's depressed? I don't. And I know a lot of
Mhm.
people that work out, right? I don't know anybody who consistently works out, and that doesn't mean
Mhm.
they're in great shape, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
matter what their shape is, but they consistently exercise, whether it's a long walk at night, or they run, or they lift weights, or they do yoga. I don't know anybody that does that that's always depressed. Anybody,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
so that should tell you right there, especially as a truck driver. Like, you got to pull over and rest. Do you take some stuff with you? Kettlebells, bands, body weight squats? Do you walk around the rest area? Something is going to completely change your mindset. It's going to completely change the way you live your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of transportation, last week my guest was Tim Sohn, and he wanted to ask you this question, Richard.
Okay.
He asked, what role do you believe continuous learning and skill development play in staying ahead in the transportation industry?
That's 100% necessary. Transportation, as you know, rapidly changing. The market's rapidly changing. There's a threat of strikes all the time. The companies that are out there that you can work with are changing. And for me, I got into transportation, and this is going to sound crazy, but in 2020.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it has been a rocket ship. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for making connections, talking to people, finding partners that are way smarter than me, that have done this forever and are willing to share their knowledge and be there whenever I call them, if it wasn't for that and the constant push to consume this information, I wouldn't be where I am. It's 100% necessary. And anybody that's going to be in this business, something like transportation, has to be on the cutting edge. You have to, because things will change like that. And your leadership is expecting you to know. They hired you to make that decision. They hired you to do what's right for the company. So they're not going to be like, why didn't you adapt? Why didn't you adjust? How did we get caught off guard and now our rates are 75% up or whatever? So it's, it's necessary, but it's necessary for everything in life, right? Not just transportation.
Absolutely.
But everything. You have to be a lifelong learner.
Absolutely. You're saying that to me too. And I that's my passion, is learning. So I love that. Next Monday, this coming Monday, this is perfect. I'm having Randy McNeely on my podcast, and he is a kindness ambassador. And if you know him, if you don't know him, you should, because he is a kindness ambassador. And he will be joining me on Monday. But what do you think we should ask him? What questions should we ask? He wrote a book about the kindness giver. He has the Formula 2.0 about kindness. And he recently posted about being a captain of kindness. So what should we ask him on Monday? What would be your question be for him?
Yeah, for me, I think I would want to know how he brings kindness and approaches kindness when it comes to like introducing people to it, right?
Oh.
Like in this day and age, with social media being what it is, and the political environment being what it is, it's very hard to like work that into a conversation. So when you're talking to somebody, like, how do you bring that to the forefront? Like being kind, and what kindness means to you,
That's a beautiful question. I can't wait to see what he says. You naturally brought it into the conversation today. So I'll be interested to see what he says about that. That's an excellent. Richard, let us know. Tell us, leave us today with some lasting words of advice. Send us off into this Friday Junior, being inspired. Tell everybody where they can find you. Tell them about your podcast that you're going to have, just where they can connect with you and where they can learn more about you.
Okay, yeah, I am getting ready to launch a podcast. It's not up yet, but I'll have it on my LinkedIn page, which my LinkedIn address is just my name. It's richard-t.walker. So easy to find, very active on there, so you can't miss me. The podcast will be called The Loaded Life. And like I said, I'm going to talk to people that I genuinely want to know more about and want them to tell their story. So sure, people in freight, people in exercise, academic people. I want to talk to some people that are teaching on a college level about warehousing. And so it's just going to be a big mix of all types of people that do really cool things and have really cool stories. As far as like to send the audience off, the same word I use all the time, same two words: chase joy. Chase joy. Wake up every day, chase joy, spread it. If you can't spread it, find it. If you can't share it, if you can't give joy to someone else, find it in your own life. And once you do, man, then you can spread joy, and then it just opens up all these new doors for you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Richard, for coming on today. Cheers.
Thank you.